My name is Joe Bergquist. I'm a commercial lender with Harleysville Bank, primarily in Montgomery County. As far as my background goes, so I have been in banking for 23 years. I started out working for Commerce Bank back in 2000. Commerce Bank eventually became TD Bank. At that point, I had left and went to work for a small startup bank called Victory Bank, which is up in Limerick, and worked for those guys for about 7 years, and then left there, came to work at Harleysville Bank, and now I've been at Harleysville Bank for about 7 years now. Always been on the commercial lending side of banking, dealing with a lot of different types of commercial lending. Like I've had kind of a varied amount of experience, everything from small business lending to a little bit of middle market lending to some what you would call different types of construction lending, as far as like retail tract development for housing, larger projects like renovation of like the Harrisburg Mall, things like things of that nature. So I've gotten around the block a little bit, like done a number of different types of lending in different types of environments as it relates to commercial real estate. And then kind of coming back around to where I am now at Harleysville, where it's more of a our typical transaction size is probably that $1 to $4 million type deal. Still dealing with all the different asset types as far as industrial, commercial, apartment, and retail, but doing just kind of a slightly smaller scale projects out here in the suburbs. Chester County, Montco, Delaware County, and so on. As far as I would say some of my other background, went to I'm definitely a product of the tri-state area. So I went undergrad at St. Joe's. I got an MBA at Widener. Actually got a doctorate degree from Wilmington University in Delaware, and I'm also a graduate of the Stonier Graduate School of Banking, which is one of the best banking schools in the country.
So how did you get involved with the commercial chapter here at Tri-County Suburban?
So Tom Walsh, many years ago, I've probably known Tom for probably about 13, 14 years in that time frame. So I met Tom many years ago, and Tom and I were actually involved in another commercial group that actually met over in Bucks County, and then that group kind of closed down over the year, like after a few years, whatever. And so then Tom basically, kind of out of the blue one day said, "Hey, I've got this other group over here called the C&I Exchange, and would you be interested in coming out and being a part of the group?" I will also say that Tom and I also used to be members of the Tri-State Commercial Realtors, which was kind of a commercial real estate group that was around for a long time, and unfortunately they closed up. And then I think that was I don't know if that necessarily was the impetus, but I think that was part of what Tom was trying to do to kind of replace that in a way, at least as part of the networking and the networking aspect of it. I would say it that way.
Sure. So you mentioned the CI Exchange. Can you tell us what this commercial industrial marketing exchange is?
So the C&I Exchange is a great commercial real estate networking group, but it is, I think, and I'll put it in Tom's reference, it's a working group. It's not just, hey, we're just going to show up and give our 30-second commercial, or just say, "Hi, I'm Joe from Harleysville," and shake a few hands and pass a few business cards and go home. No, this group is really unique in the sense that we're sitting there, all the commercial realtors in the room, they're going around, they're talking about properties they want to buy, properties they're leasing or trying to lease, things they're looking for their clients. Like, in other words, they might have a client that has cash and is looking for this type of property in this particular area. And so, we're just going around the table talking about what everybody needs, what they want, and what they're looking for. My particular end of it is more as a service provider, like being a banker, being a commercial lender. And I think where I add value to the group is that a lot of the commercial realtors in the group, they're able to ask me banking questions while they're kind of going around and working on this. Like, they might say, "Hey, Joe, would a bank want an environmental report on something on a property like this?" And then I can try to answer that for them. Or they might say, "Hey, I had a problem with an appraisal over here. Why do you think the bank had this issue?" And then again, I can try to at least give them some, try to kind of help them through the banking end of things, and then certainly when opportunities come up, try to help them out with whatever lending needs they might have.
Could you share your experience generating business from attending these meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. So just recently I had a couple of really good referrals. One was on kind of an interesting property in Westchester. That property was converted from a 4-unit like residential. It was kind of a, well, I was just say it was a mixed use building. Me turning it from a 4-unit to a 6-unit residential apartment building, and that was great. It was a really nice project. You know, they spent a couple $100,000 kind of renovating that first floor. Got all the permits and approvals from Westchester Borough, and so it was really great. Turned out to be a really nice project. You know, whole thing. Doing the financing from start to finish, probably took about 5 weeks to get that all done, and then probably another couple months just getting the renovations completed. But it's all done now, and it turned out to be a fabulous project. The other referral was a great referral. Still working on it, not quite to the finish line yet, but we're getting there. So, but I think it's just great that again the referrals are flowing. Mike, who attends the meetings, he puts out a package that basically has flyers, any type of pertinent property information that's going in there that some of the other commercial realtors in the room might be trying to market or lease, things of that nature. So as a service provider, he allows me, I can just kind of put my little pamphlet in the package and basically say, yeah, here's kind of what we do and what we're looking for, and kind of give some parameters around some different type of lending structure on deals, and that's been very helpful.
What's been your favorite part about attending the meetings?
I host a lenders panel every year, usually in like May or June, where I'll get a couple other bankers that'll come in, and usually when we do that, we might get like 30 people out in the room. But for just like a typical meeting, which lasts probably an hour to an hour and a half, we're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 people, and I like that though. I like that intimacy, that fact that you have a smaller group of people. I belong to some other commercial networking groups in Chester County and Montgomery County, and typically with a meeting, you're meeting at a venue. You probably have on average between, I would say, 40 and 60 individuals attending those meetings, and then you're going around the horn, so to speak. Everyone's giving like a 30-second commercial. But you definitely don't have the ability to interact with and talk with every single person in the room, and some people you might chat with for a few minutes, and then other people you might say, oh hey, I got to catch up with you. What's great about the C&I Exchange is that because it's a smaller group, you really are able to interact with I talk to every single person in the room when we come to have our meetings. And there's a sense of intimacy to that, which is just, it's fantastic, and I feel like I can really give a lot of value in that setting just because it's a smaller group. So I really love that aspect of it.
Great. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience with the commercial chapter or CI Exchange?
I host a lenders panel every year, usually in like May or June, where I'll get a couple other bankers that'll come in, and usually when we do that, we might get like 30 people out in the room. But for just like a typical meeting, which lasts probably an hour to an hour and a half, we're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 people, and I like that though. I like that intimacy, that fact that you have a smaller group of people. I belong to some other commercial networking groups in Chester County and Montgomery County, and typically with a meeting, you're meeting at a venue. You probably have on average between, I would say, 40 and 60 individuals attending those meetings, and then you're going around the horn, so to speak. Everyone's giving like a 30-second commercial. But you definitely don't have the ability to interact with and talk with every single person in the room, and some people you might chat with for a few minutes, and then other people you might say, oh hey, I got to catch up with you. What's great about the C&I Exchange is that because it's a smaller group, you really are able to interact with I talk to every single person in the room when we come to have our meetings. And there's a sense of intimacy to that, which is just, it's fantastic, and I feel like I can really give a lot of value in that setting just because it's a smaller group. So I really love that aspect of it.
Would you give or offer any advice to any realtors who are coming into the commercial space, given your wealth of experience in the industry?
You're going to get out of these groups what you put into them. So in other words, if you come in, if you come to the meetings, if you work to build relationships with people, if you kind of have one-on-ones with people outside of the meeting and begin to develop those relationships, you're going to get business and good things are going to happen for you if you put the time in. So that would kind of be my advice on it. So.